Movie Mavericks.
The Movie Mavericks Podcast.
Movie Mavericks, speaking of fucking long, uncut European cocks.
The Movie Mavericks Podcast.
Now for your hosts, Jason and Trevor.
I can't wait.
Hey now, everybody, welcome to episode 301 of the Movie Mavericks Podcast. I'm Trevor Anderson. Send you over to Jason Rugard. He's got a rundown for us.
Yeah, on the first episode in the 300s, we are going to be talking about Dwayne Johnson joining the Robert Ludlum universe. Shane Black's talking Lethal Weapon 5. Guillermo del Toro went on a love letter rampage to John Carpenter yesterday. We'll get into that, as well as reviews for Neighbors 2, Gods of Egypt, 999, The Night Before, and trailers for Star Trek 3, Assassin's Creed, Popstar, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, and Hell or High Water. We got a packed show today, guys. Stay with us. It's going to be a long one, but we're going to get through it very smoothly, like we always do, right? Glossy.
If you say so.
Yeah. We talked last week a little bit of trivia, Schwarzenegger trivia, and you got it right on the head with Junior there. And you maybe want to go back and test your knowledge a little bit. And this is really because Kindergarten 2 dropped this week on Netflix. Did you watch it, the one with Dolph?
Mm-mm.
No, it's
I didn't even know it was on there.
Yeah, they quietly dumped that one on to
Dolph
Netflix.
Did come out and say that he got Schwarzenegger's approval for it, so...
Oh, well, I'm sure that was...
Which I don't know why the fuck you would need. You know? And
by the way, imagine that?
Oh, please. Schwarzenegger is such a whore. At this point, he gives his seal of approval to any fucking thing.
I remember when Schwarzenegger assured me that Terminator 4 was going to be great.
Oh, yeah. He'll assure you for any fucking movie. He doesn't give a shit.
Even Genesis, Terminator 5. It's going to be fantastic.
He's a real politician.
He really is. Can you imagine that, though, on the Expendables 3? Dolph's like, hey, can I talk to you real quick? Can I ask you your blessing on something here? You fucking idiot, puss. This is another trivia question regarding that franchise. Now, there was supposed to be a Kindergarten Cop 2 way back in 1993. It was reworked and came out under a different title. It was a modest hit, an action comedy, 1993. Do you know the title?
Was it a Schwarzenegger movie?
No. It started.
No, so it's a different. That's something else.
Yeah, but it was released. It was Universal Pictures release.
A Universal Pictures release? I have no idea.
It is the Burt Reynolds star Cop and a Half. Can you believe that? That was originally intended as Kindergarten Cop 2.
Yeah, I guess I could believe that, actually.
Right? Doesn't that make a little bit more sense in a way?
I guess. I mean, I don't know, cops and kids, I'm done.
That was a very, very bad movie. Now, somehow that movie made like $60 million in adjusted monies.
Oh, I remember when that movie came out. It was wildly popular. Kindergarten Cop is what we're talking about, right? Not Cop and a Half. Cop and a Half, good Lord. Cop and a Half, yeah. That one was good. People like that. I'd never seen it.
It wasn't good,
but people watched it, yeah. I don't know. I'm surprised Kindergarten Cop made as much money as it did. It's just... have you seen Kindergarten Cop lately?
I caught a few minutes of it on TBS or one of those.
The comedy part of it, that you remember everyone reciting those lines, our mom says our dad's a sex machine, whatever, the fucking, all the stupid things, all that stuff is so bad in that movie. And the action stuff is like mediocre at best. It's really not a very good movie.
I just caught the last little part where the kids climb in the tower, and I thought, God, there was a lot of 90s movies that ended up with like people climbing electric towers, like Ricochet and that. And
either that or on rooftops, Yes, they like to be up high at the end of action movies in the 90s.
Even the Batman, why are we climbing? Like, what are we getting towards here? Just a fall?
No, yeah. We have to be up high. That's how you...
Guy did that. They fell in
that's
the
ditch. How you do that. Yeah, they did in Cable Guy too, yeah.
All right,
that was a 90s thing.
Go back and watch Cop and a Half, and if you think Kindergarten Cop is a little stiff,
I don't need to revisit or see it for the first time. No, I'm good.
Well, Dwayne Johnson, if you don't keep up with this guy on social media, you're missing out, because this guy's got a very entertaining social media following, and he is listed that he will be doing a project with Shane Black in 2017 that some are speculating might have something to do with the Predator reboot that Black has been talking about, or is going to be the Doc Savage franchise that Black's been talking about since the 80s.
I mean, that's what I heard was Doc Savage, but
before all this happens.
Dwayne Johnson's on a couple things, isn't he?
Well, he's on HGH. He's on testosterone. He's on.
He may be on estrogen. No, I mean, he's attached to a few movies at this point. He's kind of somehow spun himself into the next movie star without really doing much of anything.
On the shoulders of Fast and Furious and G.I. Joe's franchise, he's kind of come in and revitalized a couple of things. And honestly, like now he's like arguably one of the biggest movie stars in the world, if not internationally.
But he hasn't done anything yet, right? He's done very little things. I mean, I agree with you. Fast and Furious is probably really the thing that is the breakout. It's really not that good, but I'm to say that he's, that's something that you would look at and say, oh yes, that's him. It's an ensemble movie. But based on that alone, he's become very wanted. I'll say that.
He's very
oddly enough, even after Hercules, didn't do so well. And you talk about G.I. Joe really not doing so well in the end. He's been involved with a lot of stuff that really hasn't done very well. So it's surprising, but he has that personality. He's electric,
Well, San Andreas was Warner Brothers' top-grossing film worldwide.
There's that one,
year.
right.
I mean, I did a lot of business based on him, and so and you look at that and you go, it's a disaster film that he started. So just a good career move, and he's doing the comedy thing. Central Intelligence has a lot of heat going with Kevin Hart. He's attached himself to Jumanji once again with Kevin Hart. So
yeah,
a lot of things in the pipe. Somewhere in there, he's going to find the time apparently to do the new Robert Ludlum franchise they're trying to get off. In conjunction now, I think with the Bourne films petering out, because I think everyone involved says this is the last Bourne film, like hell or high water, right?
Well, it has to be because Matt Damon's getting a bit old, right? He's kind of a bit long in the tooth there to play this role. Obviously, spinning it off didn't work.
Well, I think they're going to back and do a sequel there.
Are they still going to try to do that? I thought that. Yeah. I mean, it's been so long.
That's what I thought.
And that's why I kind of feel like this Matt Damon thing was like, squeeze the last drop of blood out of that rock.
What I heard was that they were still planning a Bourne Legacy sequel for like 18 or 19, 2018 or 19.
They're constantly planning stuff. I mean, they will plan things up to right about when they're ready to shoot and then cancel it. They've been doing that for quite a while now. And I don't know why, if it has something to do with PR, the way PR works nowadays, the internet, they will not cancel things until like right up to the very last minute.
Maybe it's a testing device too, to gauge fan interaction and retweets.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, it could be that as well.
But Dwayne Johnson will be doing the Jansen directive, which is, it's basically his version, Ludlum's side character, his Bourne. I didn't read I barely read the Ludlum ones. I read the Ludlum books, like the first two, and they had nothing to do with the actual movies that were made with Damon. I said, fuck that, I didn't read the rest of them. Honestly, the Bourne Supremacy has nothing to do with the Bourne Supremacy movie.
Yeah, that happens.
Title, and that is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this Guillermo del Toro tweet storm that happened the other day.
Del Toro's so weird.
I like Del Toro though. I really
like
do.
him as a personality and whatnot. I just don't. I'm not sold on his style of filmmaking anymore. I liked him early on. His recent work, I think, is just complete trash.
I wouldn't say complete trash. I think it'd be a little harsh.
I don't think so.
No, there was elements
trash.
of Crimson Peak that we both liked.
Where's there?
Yes, there were. You said it on. I know.
I'd have to go back and listen to that. I don't know.
Yes, you like elements of
elements it. Are bullshit in the grand scheme of things. The movie itself was crap. And we're talking full on story wise, right? The thing was a huge piece of crap.
He went back and
I don't know.
Watched a look. It looks like he had like a triple feature of Carpenter films, and just really got on his hands and knees and just praised Carpenter.
I mean, the only thing I will say about this is, I wish that we weren't talking about movies like The Thing or The Fog, because it's kind of like, well, that's all. Even though I'm really not a fan of The Fog, it's an obvious one to go to. Like, let's dig a little bit deeper. I like the Assault on Precinct 13 mention, but there's so many other movies. I mean, you're talking about a guy who made a lot of movies that weren't liked when they came out. There's so many more than those. Come on.
I was disappointed he didn't acknowledge even some of the, I think, seminal ones. Like, why aren't we talking Prince of Darkness, which I think is obviously the most overlooked one, I'll say over and over. Obviously, Escape from New York. Where is the mention of that in there?
That's what I mean. Yeah, there's a lot of movies in there that weren't. I felt a bit easy and very horror oriented, which coming from Del Toro is not unexpected, but come on.
The best part of that whole interaction, I thought, because he was saying a lot of things that are obviously, it's always like no shit. You know what I mean? Anybody that knows.
Right.
He did say a couple of things that were very poignant. One was the fact that there is genre. I can't fucking speak apparently anymore on the radio. But
you're trying to say like Del Toro, it's not genre.
Yeah, exactly. Guillermo.
Stop trying to talk like a Spaniard.
Exactly. Banderas has left the room.
No.
It's genre inequality. He's saying basically that horror films don't get the respect that they should, and there is a truth to that in a certain degree. But
Sure.
he also said a great story about him saying, people love these films now, and this and that, and Carpenter. And I can just imagine Carpenter saying, 'cause I've seen a lot of interviews with the guy saying, "How the fuck does that help me now?" It's like,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
shit on back in the day. Who gives
But
a
that's
shit?
Carpenter, right? I mean, Carpenter is as he puts it, a tough guy. He's not. He's just a tough. He's like a rough soul. He's just the kind of guy. Even in his old age, he looks like just the kind of guy that would, if you push him the wrong way, he'd beat the shit out of you or something. He just doesn't give a fuck.
He vaguely reminds me of John McTiernan. If you ever watched
Yes.
interviews with McTiernan, they have the same kind of. They don't suffer fools
I
well.
agree as well.
They're very crotchety. They don't give a shit
That's why I
about
like
things.
McTiernan so well. I also like his style of directing and Carpenter's as well, where they just fucking, you go out and you do it.
It's sparse, but it's very it's very professional.
Yeah.
They get the shots.
It's well thought out, really, is what it is.
Are you excited to see The Nice Guys? I can't wait to see it.
I am, but I don't know.
Shane Black.
I hope Shane Black. Oh my God! Now you've given it to me.
It's over there now.
I don't know what's going on here.
Banderas is in your house now.
I hope it's Shane Black. He's so sexy. No.
Shane Negro.
Yeah, right. Shane Blackie. I hope he delivers. I obviously his big comeback with Downey Jr. obviously helping out quite a bit with what the hell was that called?
What was Kiss Kiss was
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Thank you.
it was him helping Downey, and then Downey helped him with
But
that.
yeah, I mean, but Downey was so good in that movie. They kind of helped each other, really. I mean, that movie, even people who didn't know Shane Black liked that movie because of Robert Downey Jr. and a lot of the other actors and stuff in it. But I mean, so well written, so great. But he's kind of like you mentioned Iron Man 3. I mean, oh no, I mean, I like Shane Black. I like the way your mind works, but I don't know. Sometimes people like this come up with ideas that sound cooler maybe than they are if they were actually real.
The best thing about a Shane Black movie coming out, I think, is the press junkets and all the shit that he says, because the guy is unfiltered. He really is one of the Hollywood mavericks of the 80s. One of the rock star
He's crazy a little bit, too.
screenwriters that has hung on. I mean, Joe Esterhaus is gone. A lot of those, Max Landis now, there's a lot of he's getting $4 million a script for this and $2 million for that, and that's just questionable money spending by studios at that point. But this guy was getting it back. $2.5 million, $3 million for a script back in the late 80s. Translated now, it's unbelievable the kind of money this guy was getting for the stuff. And he did write.
He's already spent it.
He blew that in the 90s. He didn't have writer's block. Let's not forget. He had 7 years where he played writer's block. And for him to get past that and now. But he was asked about Lethal Weapon 5, was his involvement. And his involvement with Lethal Weapon franchise is it's misinformed. He really wrote a first draft that had a story, but at the end, the two guys died. So they changed the end, obviously, brought in a co-writer, and then just used his characters. So he got characters created by credit, but he had nothing to do with the films outside of the first draft of the first film. So somebody asked him his thoughts on Part 5, and he said that he wrote a 60-page treatment that he thought was a good movie, and he was an older version or a current version of Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, and they were going to be in New York battling these Blackwater experts. These guys were smuggling antiquities to Afghanistan. And they were going to have a younger character with them. I think Jai Courtney automatically, right? And
Obviously.
He said, though, that every time he saw one of these movies and they put the young guy in there, it was a counterpoint. They pushed the old guys aside. It was really about the young guys. He said he wasn't going to do that in his version of it. Probably why the script didn't get made, amongst other reasons. I mean, Gibson's pretty much blacklisted.
Reasons, did anyone ask for it?
Right, but I mean, is he not describing basically, though, Die Hard, A Good Day to Die Hard?
Well, he's describing many movies, right? Indiana Jones 4. I mean,
you
mean
in what he's discussing basically in his treatment?
not in the sense of the young guy stuff, but in the sense of.
I just thought all of it. In fact, I thought that pushing the older guy. I mean, Indiana Jones 4, I think, has more Harrison Ford doing shit than Bruce Willis being central to A Good Day to Die Hard. I thought that was terrible.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I mean, it's the same idea, right? They're looking to expand the franchise and keep it alive beyond that. He's basically saying he's not interested in doing that, which is the right way to look at things, but that doesn't mean that doesn't work. it just means that if you go for the money grab, it's not going to be as good as if you are truly artistically inspired, right, to make something.
He says he wrote the treatment with a guy
sense.
named Chuck. I want to know who Chuck is.
Chuck. It's from Chuck and Buck.
Seriously, I want to know who this guy Chuck is because I want to know how much input he had in Shane Black.
That's his friend in quotation marks, right?
The story
His
is that Shane
invisible
Black was
friend.
living in a house with Fred Deckard, who wrote and directed a lot of films, and Monster Squad included, and a couple other guys, and they were friends with Frank Miller, and there's all these guys, and they said that it's kind of like a crazy writers and filmmakers house he was living at. And he said it wouldn't be uncommon for his friends to be staging fights on the lawn at 3 a.m. and lighting and filming them and whatnot. And he had wrote a treatment for Lethal Weapon and thought it was shit and threw it in the garbage, and his buddy pulled it out, read it, and sent it in, and that's how he got his first interview. It's pretty interesting story that Shane Black has, and the roller coaster he's had in Hollywood. He looks like Liev Schreiber to me. Have you seen pictures of him? Do you get that vibe?
Kind of. I mean, I don't, not really, but yeah. Liev Schreiber's a much bigger man than he is. But
I want to see Liev Schreiber when they do the Shane Black docudrama.
You want him to be in it. He's good. I like him, so that'll be fine with me.
He's got a great voice. He does those boxing documentaries on HBO 24/7, and his voice is meant for documentaries.
Yeah, he can portray it. I don't know if he's a tough guy in real life, but he can portray one pretty well.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back with reviews of 8 current films.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Hey, Nolan, look what everybody is saying about The Lair of the Unwanted.
I know. Jess and Rachel at Real Insights said, The Lair is our #1 favorite podcast.
Yeah, and Nick Job of the Demented Podcast said, I look forward to every episode of The Lair.
Dylan Fields of the Lambcast says, I'm planning to get a Lair of the Unwanted tattoo across my face. I love it so much.
Yeah, and Mad Hatter of Matinee Cast said, I fucking love this podcast. I would die for it.
Yeah, Scott and Whitney at Frankly My Dear said, we got married thanks to Lair of the Unwanted.
Kai of the MILFcast said, dude, I'm speechless. Check out the Almost Lammy-nominated podcast about the best of the worst movies that's out there. Come see what the fuss is all about. Check out The Lair of the Unwanted on iTunes.
We should get married on one of these episodes.
When people swear with an East Coast accent, it always just sounds better. Is it just me?
Oh, no, it's just you.
I don't know what it is. Fucking
No, it does. It does. It just sounds right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? If you've been to the East Coast, you know what I mean? It sounds right.
It just sounds right, yeah.
And no disrespect.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And you like it more, It's like if someone's cursing at you like that, you're just like, yeah, it's natural language. I got it.
Yeah, I don't even take offense to it.
It's
just
not,
the way
yeah.
it's manner of speaking. Manner of speaking. Well, I saw Neighbors 2 this weekend, which underperformed at the box office greatly. I mean, going into the weekend, they were projecting possibly $40 million.
Crazy. Yeah, flip-flop between this and Angry Birds. I mean, very weird. So, but you know why.
I thought this movie was awful. I got to be honest. I was greatly disappointed.
Almost went and saw it.
It's not worth your trip to the theater. And you know me, I'm always trying to tell you to go see something at the theater.
I thought the trailers were so good, though.
The trailers have a lot of things that aren't in this movie.
Really?
There are sequences, one or two things I noticed. There was a good joke in the Red Band trailer that we saw when he was having sex with his wife and she was doing the chant and she was spelling anal and she said, never. That's not in this film. When the girl flies through the window and she's flipping him off in slow motion, that's cut out. She just flies through the window. This is extremely sloppy movie. It's a hard R still. But
okay.
Let me tell you what. I think that Chloe Moretz is such a little cutie and a good actress on top of it. She is embarrassing in this movie. She embarrasses herself 2 or 3 times and how bad the acting. The worst part about this is that it's directed by Nicholas Stoller, who did a great job. We're forgetting Sarah Marshall. I mean, a number of other films, but he leaves his fucking actors out to dry. In
really? Because that's not. I mean, the word on the street is that they had a massive amounts of woman input into this movie, right? Including all the actresses on set and everything to round this out to be less of just a guy's, type hard R movie, which you'd get like, well, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? I think everyone does. So that doesn't either work here, or they just didn't actually take any of that input. I mean, what? Does it feel like that at all?
It's not funny. First of all, it's not funny. It's sloppy. The filmmaking in this is extremely sloppy, man. This thing is patched together. It's all over the fucking place. Like, it's first of all, there are moments in here when characters get their cell phones stolen. You know, people are breaking into their house and stealing phones behind their back, and you're like, give me a fucking break. We have now gone so absurd that you wouldn't know that somebody was doing this to you, and they change numbers, and it's a sequence that is really kind of mean to the Rogan and other characters, and it doesn't do a good job in making the Moretz character appealing at all.
Yeah, because in the first Neighbors, they actually bond with Efron. And in this one, it kind of does feel like the sorority is going to be separate, right? There's no bonding with the sorority that happens ever.
No, and the Efron character is floundering around. In the first one, he was slightly endearing because he didn't know what was lying ahead of him. In this one, he's actually... he's fucking lost. Nobody wants to hang with him. Yeah, he's like, he has no job. Nobody wants to hang out with him. He has no future.
Damn.
And it's like, you look at this and you go, this is it reminded me of The Hangover 2. And not the fact that it was that mean to its characters, but it's not nice to these people at all in any sort of humorous way. There's a couple of sight gags that work. The airbag thing still gets me. A couple of lines that Rogan delivers. And there's still some punch here with these characters. It's not a total waste, but on a disappointing scale, I walked out of that and just thought, nobody liked it. You could feel the kind of the disappointment hush over the crowd about 20 minutes in when nothing has really happened and nobody's having a good time. And it's short too, that like it's almost like they wrap things up kind of extremely quickly. There's a clever gag at the end, but there's no need for a part 3. This will die out extremely fast. I don't think this makes $50 million.
It's so because I really thought this was not sequel ready. The first movie
I
thought was a one-off thing. It really, that's what I'm saying. The trailer really, I thought, oh shit, they did it. They came up with this idea of putting the sorority in there. They brought back Zac Efron. They created this world where you can repeat. Where it works. So that's really unfortunate.
It does not work at all. Even some of the gags they recycle don't work, and it's not a good movie on any level. It's a bad comedy, and it's a season full of bad comedies. It's another year of bad comedies. So
that's fine because it's going to be a good year of action movies. So.
It is true. So let's move on.
Big action movies.
Killing neighbors here. Let's talk about what do you want to talk about here? You got a whole.
What
bunch.
Is really okay? I was interested in what the hell you wrote as your other movie.
Oh, I actually meant Life on the Line here, but
I was going to say Light on. I thought you were talking about the Lance Bass line on the line
on the
movie,
line,
which is believable because Emmanuel Tricky is in it, and I thought, oh yeah,
I would watch. He's
that definitely.
I would watch that again. I saw it back in the day. I only watched it because I'm a Joey Fatone fan. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Somewhere out there, Chris Kirkpatrick is crying. All right, so I watched Life on the Line, which is now the umpteenth straight-to-DVD John Travolta film. You didn't even know this one was coming, did you?
Oh.
Let me tell you about this fucking movie.
Boy.
He is a guy who works on a large-scale grid, electrical grid, and they go up in storms and make sure that you get your power, and power don't go out in the south. You know
How
what I mean?
old is he now? I mean, is he old enough? Is he too old to be doing this?
Too old to be doing this.
Should he be retired in this movie?
I'm fucking amazed at the goddamn makeup in this movie. They got him with like some sort of like biker ponytail thing going on and a goatee that has like a rubber band.
Wait, are you sure you weren't watching a Steven Seagal movie?
I know he's morphing slowly into it, and I was thinking, half the fun of watching these Nicolas Cage and John Travolta B movies is just to see what kind of crazy like look, quote unquote, look that they're going to develop for these characters because there's nothing on the page.
True,
I mean, they're just all over the fucking place. And I mean, Travolta's Travolta. He can actually still act, obviously. He's still got the chops to do things. He's just stuck in these movies. And Devon Sawa is in this. Remember this guy from Casper and Wild America?
No, but...
you remember from the Final Destination movie,
I know who you're talking about, but I don't really remember him.
Well, I looked at it. It starts and there's like this quasi-documentary kind of feel to it. And I'm like, is that Anthony Michael Hall? He looks terrible.
It's Bill Gates.
It's Devon Sawa, who's about 10 years younger. It looks 20 years older. Long story short, this is your typical disaster movie. It's almost like Ladder 49, but in the electrical grid world. I mean, these guys are stuck in a storm, and they're talking about what happened out there, and Travolta's this martyr of sorts, and it just... I almost kind of wanted to like it because I was like, oh, fuck, I'm watching it. I might as well get into it. Sharon Stone makes an appearance at one point. It's bizarre.
Of course she does.
It's bizarre.
I mean, that's very believable. That's not bizarre at all.
The only thing about it was I was watching it and I just went, I should have watched the other shitty Travolta one, the I Am Rat that we were talking about last week. Because that one, he's out killing people. It's not so sanctimonious.
Yeah, some people get away with doing these types of movies, but I guess we're too far beyond that at this point, right? I mean, Kevin Costner got lucky getting in there with with Guardian, right?
I love The Guardian. That movie,
great movie, but I mean, he got lucky time wise, as far as having that be a big production. You know?
That could have been a straight to DVD.
Yeah.
Nowadays. I'm glad you brought up Costner. I was watching randomly. Let's talk about a real strange movie here. I was watching Major League 3 Back to the Minors. Why? Because I like to kill 90 minutes of my life for no reason. It's just time suicide, I call it.
Wow, perfect. Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it forever, and I'm watching it. And first, it's a trip to see like actors that you recognize another shit in there. They had like a guy went on to be in Walker, Texas Ranger. 2 guys that went on to be in The Shield.
You're the only person recognizing people with bit parts and Walker, Texas Ranger, and The Shield. I don't know. I know exactly what you mean though, but that is because I do the same thing. Yeah. I do the same thing. Well, the world is everything that you watch, right? So that's like, to you, like you watch a couple things and then the person shows up again. To everybody else, they see him, they don't know who the fuck it is.
Like, Judson Mills, what are you doing in this?
Yeah.
So I'm watching that movie that we just said, and I'm looking at Scott Bakula, and I'm watching what he's doing, and I'm thinking, why Kevin Costner, not Scott Bakula? You think Scott Bakula ever was like, I could do what he fucking does? I mean, they're pretty much got that same like kind of vibe and that down home, good old like American, Americana type thing, and you feel me though?
No, you're right. They do. I mean, in Men of a Certain Age, Scott Bakula is very kind of that devil may care like Costner attitude kind of comes out.
Yeah, just watching it, I'm thinking, man, this guy was like, probably all of his life was losing out fucking auditions to Kevin Costner. And the shit Costner didn't want to do, they threw to Bakula. Yeah, here, do Necessary Roughness. Do Lords of Illusion.
Yeah, well, I mean, except for, obviously, Enterprise, right? Which was given to him.
Yeah, that's what Michael Pereri wanted.
That's Kevin Sorbo was busy doing. He was Andromeda, yeah. Yeah. At least Kevin Costner hasn't sank to those levels yet.
He dipped into that.
We need somebody.
Movie though. He did that one, The New Daughter or something like that. Remember, he had that one little.
Daughter. I don't know.
That was a horror film he did that like kind of like dipped into that straight to DVD category. And I was like, oh, here we go with Kevin Costner, but he pulled himself back out.
Yeah, he's been able to do some stuff there. I mean, Michael Keaton's kind of in that same zone, Michael Keaton's obviously having a resurgence at this point, but been able to kind of zigzag his way around that stuff.
Yeah, he was doing some straight to DVD stuff for a while, Game 6 and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, but it was, nobody noticed.
It was pretty artsy. It wasn't like I Am Wrath and Life on the Line.
Right.
My review is don't watch Life on the Line, even if your life is on the line.
No, watch On the Line instead.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably better use of your time. Or In the Mix, the Usher movie. That's fucking cinema. Another Emmanuel Chateau.
Yeah, she likes those kinds of movies.
Yeah, like she must have been like, fuck, I can only work with R&B stars. I want to know why you put 3 films on Vudu that were universally panned and critical bombs and commercial failures.
Because I'm just buying everything at this point.
Let's start from the top. Pride and Prejudice.
And there's nothing else to buy.
I mean, what the fuck, man?
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I actually really like this movie.
Yeah.
Because I am, I'm going to admit it. I'm a Pride and Prejudice fan.
You mean like you're a secret Jane Austen fan? No fucking shit. I can't believe you just admitted that on there.
No,
There's
not.
One of our listeners right now that has a tear coming out of their eye. They're like, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, right.
And you also like zombies, so I guess this is a perfect situation for you.
Right. No, that's not true. I actually don't. I've never read Pride and Prejudice. I don't like Jane Austen in general. But I did really, really like the Joe Wright movie Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley, all the other people. I thought it was a great movie, surprisingly. I really thought I wouldn't like it, and I loved it. And so I do know a little bit about Pride and Prejudice because I've seen that one Pride and Prejudice movie. So I'm
so you're versed in your Austen.
I'm basically I have a doctorate in Jane Austen at this point.
Yeah, I saw Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. I'm a Shakespeare authority.
Yeah. So I applied that knowledge to this movie, and I understand why surprisingly it works, and I get why it works because they're very careful to keep the Pride and Prejudice stuff intact while adding or morphing just a little bit so they can put the zombie stuff in there. So a lot of the character interactions and stuff really are Pride and Prejudice interactions, but with the zombie stuff being kind of on the peripheral, and so you get very differently staged interactions between people, but saying kind of like similar lines and things, and it works somehow. So I really did. I like this movie, surprisingly enough. And
I don't know if I'm ever going to actually take the time to look at this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's not
compared to Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter.
Oh, that movie's terrible.
I liked that one though.
No. You're talking about the Asylum one.
I like that one too.
No, you liked American. You liked the.
No, I'm thinking of Dark Shadows. I'm sorry, I get those two mixed up.
Dark Shadows is good.
Dark Shadows, yeah,
but this doesn't.
Same week.
Yeah, see, I would say Dark Shadows is better, but Dark Shadows is more Hollywood. This is really Pride and Prejudice and zombies, which to me worked, but could hurt it because it's Pride and Prejudice and zombies, right?
Which is obviously what people didn't go see it, and it wasn't. Very well
it works as a book form because it's cool, and I get it. Like I can see the idea and stuff, but this is really I get why the Abraham Lincoln thing didn't work, or not the Asylum one, which you liked. A couple people liked. That one was well written, but boring as shit. But this stuff doesn't work. Putting these weird twists on things isn't enough. That it has to be done just the right way, and I thought this was done the right way. And I liked all the actors in it.
You caught up and finally saw The Night Before. Speaking of Seth Rogen,
I did finally see this. This is a movie
I gave
you
this
panned.
one. I didn't hate it. I give it a mid.
Really? You said
I gave it a mild.
I felt like you hated it.
I gave it a mild thumbs kind of down. I was on the fence
right.
on it, and I gave it a mild non-recommendation.
I loved it.
Really? You're the second person that told me that this week. Actually.
Really loved it. Like this is a new holiday favorite for me.
Get the fuck
the acting was great. It was fucking hysterical. The entire movie was funny. I thought Seth Rogen was just on point through the whole thing. I like Anthony Mackie. I actually thought he worked well with this group. Obviously Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is top of his game always. But the bits I thought were funny, and I liked these characters. These were guys that I wanted to hang out with. And even so, even when they went off on their separate ways, it kept the story moving, right? It had good bits even when they weren't together. So I did enjoy this movie.
I thought this one went on a little too long for me and got a little bit too wrapped up in its own thing. But I did love the Michael Shannon stuff. I thought he was fantastic playing.
He's great
Michael
in it.
Shannon.
He's almost, but as far as like other things go, he's damn near, you don't even know he's somebody else. I don't know what he is in this, but it's not, he's like, I don't know. Is this, he hasn't played this type of role before, has he?
No, but he's playing, that oddball, like kind of character. He's playing almost himself. I thought, like in that what people perceive.
I mean, he
Michael
really
Shannon.
is playing this person who's just out of their mind, and he does it to a degree where the dude must be actually high, right? Or he's just a really good actor, because he literally looks and acts like someone who's just like that, like a drug dealer. Like he's literally. Like, I don't know, maybe his best role yet, which is sad to say it's in this fucking movie, but.
Well, great use of, a lot of pop culture references in this movie. I love when they went and did the Kanye stuff, and all that.
When Seth Rogen's getting the dick pics and stuff was hysterical. I damn near died, especially when
Tell
he's
me
like.
you didn't know, though, who that James was. That you weren't
yes,
that.
Of course.
Okay.
I knew, but I thought that was a nice touch as well. These guys are all together all the time. I've had to watch plenty of fucking movies where they pop up in each other's movies and shit. So at this point, just take it, just let it happen.
I thought
because it's gonna.
This was at least a little bit better than The Interview for me.
Yeah, I thought this was way better than The Interview. Yeah.
And so I thought it was good. But I just was a little, once again, a trailer that really sold me. And then I got in there and it wasn't quite the experience I was looking for. I thought it was a little bit heavy handed with the story, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's backstory.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that until it. I know, and that was the other thing about it was really the beginning is a bit off-putting at first because you think this is not the movie I signed up for, but then it does become that movie. So I was okay with that after that. And any movie that casts Jillian Bell is gonna be a favorite of mine because I think she's absolutely hysterical.
She is pretty damn funny. All right, what about 999? This is the Casey Affleck heist film that came out this year, but looked like it was going to come out in 1992.
Yeah, this movie is just a confused fucking movie. Fantastic performances by Chiwetel Ejiofor, whatever his name is.
Wow, you did that well. I can't do that well.
Great in
not
this.
say Medea. Tyler Perry's Medea. You can say that.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. I don't know. It's the weirdest name in the world.
Did you ask Siri how to say that?
Yeah, right. But he is so good, like as an actor. I can't it must be the name that's holding him back. Real honestly, he should be in more movies. He's fucking good.
I know he's great. He's been great in everything.
Yes, but seriously good. Like he like really good. Casey Affleck obviously is good in this. Anthony Mackie's in this as well. He's good. Woody Harrelson, is Woody Harrelson. I mean, Aaron Paul is okay. is Aaron Paul? If you like Aaron Paul, he's in this.
What's the problem with the movie?
It is just a jumbled mess, to be honest with you. I mean, it opens with a bank robbery. Okay, that's all good. We got the storyline going, working for the Russian mafia. Kate Winslet's running the Russian mafia for some reason.
All right, you've already lost all believability.
Gal Gadot is her sister, and Chewie.
Now what's next? They're on fucking Mars?
I know. He apparently was with good old Wonder Woman there, and they have a kid together, so he's kind of tied up in this Russian mafia nonsense. And so he's doing jobs for them. On his team are Anthony Mackie, who's a cop, Norman Reedus, who is also a cop, and then I don't know, Norman Reedus other people. I mean, Aaron Paul.
I would not trust that man. If he's like, I'm a cop, like, fuck you, you ain't a cop. He sees my ID. I don't trust you. You look like an asshole.
Yeah.
Is this not worth watching? I mean, was it worse than what was the other jumbled mess of an action film that we saw like this? I want to say, shit.
There's been a lot. I mean, this is very obviously. I say this is a '90s movie.
Worse than Sabotage, the Schwarzenegger one. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh well, I mean, no, it's not as bad. But just because, the storytelling in Sabotage is too artistic.
I thought the characters were despicable in Sabotage.
Yeah, that too. I mean, they're a little. I mean, Chiwetel is a good guy in this. Everyone else is, and Casey Affleck's good. Everyone else is pretty much, an asshole.
Was this better or worse than Point Break?
I haven't seen Point Break yet.
Good. I'm glad. Clean slate.
But my guess is, I don't know. I mean, this is going to be less slick for sure. It's very 90s feeling. I mean, when they set off bombs, they use a burner phone, but it's a flip phone. Crying out loud. I mean, this movie is totally 90s to the nth degree. The cops hang out in a dive bar that is just
straight out of Copland.
Oh no, it's ridiculous. It's no cops would hang out in this bar. It's like a biker bar. It's just dirty like as fuck, and there are just women, strippers and all this shit going on. You're just like, who? What? Only dirty cops would hang out in this bar.
Yeah, it does not sound good.
It's a silly movie. In the end, there is some sequences in the middle that are pretty good, where they're breaching. They're going after some guy, and they got to clear this apartment building. That was good action. The bank robbery is good. It's the story overall is so disjointed and just very weird.
Well, speaking of silly films, in the last on the voodoo list, the trifecta of shit that we got on this account is Gods of Egypt, a movie that I've actually had a little nagging want to see, but it came and went so quickly that I never had a chance to. But you caught up with it. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it should be called Gods of Awful.
Really, I have a tolerance for these kind of movies. Though. I really do.
So did I, and I watched the entire thing, and I was like, okay, that's fine, But if we're going to talk to normal people here, it's fucking awful. This isn't us here. We have a high tolerance for this kind of shit. Believe me, I watched the whole thing. It truly is awful, to a degree where it's just like, what the fuck is going on half the time? And it's Wachowski awful, the world building that's going on here is just so silly. Like, and I'll give you the prime example. The big, well, first of all, the cool things are the gods are like big, like they're big people and stuff. And so that's kind of cool. But it does lend to things where, you know, like hand someone a glass of wine, they have to double hand it because the gods are big, but the guy's like small.
Oh, God.
So it's like silly shit like that. You know what I mean? That's not good.
Well, how's the CG? How does it look?
The CG is good overall. There are some action sequences that obviously need some love. But again, I mean, Gerard Butler plays this god that takes over, and he, for whatever reason, has these giant beetles. And the way these are introduced is he's talking, and at some point there's just a giant beetle walking across the background. And then later on in the movie, he has these giant beetles as his horses, as his chariot, and so they can fly and take his chariot with them. It's shit like that really just kind of like, who the fuck did this? Right? I mean, whoever made this had to be super high.
Extremely disappointing because Alex Proyas, who directed it, did The Crow, did I, Robot, Dark City. I mean, these are movies that are like seminal classics.
This is what I thought. The whole movie, you see things, you say, oh, well, at least this is well directed. And then shit like that happens, and you go, good Lord, what the fuck was that? And then the next scene, you're like, okay, well, at least this is well directed, you know? And then something happens, you're like, what the fuck was that? That's the whole movie.
It's a Red Sonja moment you have in there. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, so it's just very weird, you know, and really ultimately not very good, I guess, in the sense that it's a pointless story. You know, I mean, at least in B movies and shitty stories nowadays, they try to make you have some sort of connection or get engrossed in it. There's really just nothing here in this at all. It's equal parts, you know, silly, like Jupiter Ascending type silliness, and you know, Prince of Persia. I mean, one of the characters in this, the mortal character, is basically a thief. Ooh, that's original, right? I mean, fuck.
Yeah,
it's real just basic. Like,
I've already mentally tuned out when you say these things. It's like, yep, seen that, yep. Yeah. I asked you if it was as good as or worse than the Hercules with Kellen Lutz, and you said you hadn't seen it. I thought perfect, because this is the same long line of these kind of movies. I've seen a lot of this kind of shit.
Yeah,
this one couldn't even get me riled up for because of the trailers that looked so awful. It looked like a combination.
Well, the trailers are a good representation of this movie, you know, because they're confusing as fuck, and that's basically what this movie is confusing as fuck. Even though it's not hard to follow, it's just like, why? Like, just weird shit happens. You're like, why is this? Who decided this? You know, I will say the Beltrami score is great, as always.
Yeah, always.
But other than that, like, this is, if you like these kinds of silly, stupid movies like that, then, you know, it's okay. It's not like it like Jupiter Ascending, like, fucking hurts you, right, when you watch it.
That's insulting, yeah.
This movie isn't at that level, but it's definitely not, like, you can't really recommend this to people, you know?
Yeah, Jupiter Ascending is still on the high on the shit list of these kind of movies. All right, let's move on and let's get to our trailer addict portion of today's show.
Trailers can be wondrous things, giving us insight into the unseen movies of the future. But when they're bad, fire photon torpedoes. Shields up, red alert. Prepare for Trailer Addict.
Ooh, before we get into this, have you seen any of the new Ghostbuster trailers?
I have, and I'm actually liking it.
Really? Which ones have you seen? Did you see both the new ones?
No, I saw the new the television spot, and
the TV spot.
Where she jumped and didn't, landed on her back, and
okay, that's in the second trailer. Yeah,
I've only seen the new cuts, but I thought they're doing a much better job of presenting this.
Oh my god, yeah! If you guys, I mean,
I didn't have a problem with the first one though. To be clear, I really didn't have a problem.
We both loved the first one. Yeah. The more and more I see of this movie, the more and more I love it. But I mean, that the second trailer that came out in the U.S. is very good, but the international trailer is really good.
I'll have to give that a watch.
But definitely give both those a watch. I'm loving this movie so far. I think the comedy is working, and obviously the casting I really like. So, which is surprising because I was totally. I think we were both kind of edging being against this from the beginning.
There's a couple things I like in the summertime. I like disaster invasion movies, like your Independence Day or San Andreas, things like that. I kind of expect that. I like special effects comedies, much like this, much like Pixels last year and things of that ilk.
Obviously,
and I like your goofy star-driven comedies, like your Sandler movies and stuff. So like, or your Knocked Up and things. So like those are summertime movies for me. Yeah. So when I see this fits perfectly into that mold for me. I can't wait to see this in July on a hot July evening. watching a breezy comedy like this that's professionally done. That's it's exactly what you want. I don't want to think about it 2 hours later. I just want to enjoy it when it's happening.
I mean, McKinnon is killing it for me in all these trailers.
Kate McKinnon is the standout star of Saturday Night Live for the
God.
last 2 years. I've been telling people this for 2 years.
But there's no way. I mean, I agree with you. But and this movie is just further proof of that. It's unfortunate. I don't see any way for her to expand. I don't think she's going to get the recognition she deserves for this either. But in the trailers, anyways. She's the one that has those off the cuff remarks and things, and she's kind of in her own world, but she's like, she's not out of it. She's very in tune. She's very on. I don't know.
There is no other cast member on Saturday Night Live in the last couple of years that cracks up fellow cast members more during sketches than her. And if you haven't seen her Justin Bieber impersonation, it looks just like it. The mannerisms down to a T, more so than even her Clinton impersonation. But let's move on and talk about Star Trek Beyond, which dropped its second trailer this week and announced that they're going to be releasing the film in an IMAX presentation during San Diego's Comic-Con in July before its theatrical presentation here in the States. I think this trailer is a big improvement over the little teaser I saw. I guess it was an international teaser they released previously.
No, it was a trailer.
Was it a full trailer? I thought the second one's a much, much, much improved.
This is more of a trailer. I don't think there's anything new in this, really, except for the bad guy.
Just presented a little bit better, I thought.
Really? I mean, I disagree. I like the other one as well. As far as the teaser goes, it's more than a teaser, really. The other one really is a trailer. This is trailer number 2. I mean, you're right. They're two very different trailers, but I do like the teaser stuff that they do and then come out with a real trailer like this later. Both of these have gotten me onto this. I loved both of the other Star Trek movies.
You did, yeah.
I know not a lot of people were a fan of the second one. I still liked it. I really love these characters and the casting. So I'm good on this. I think this looks great.
I am going to go back and rewatch Star Trek Into Darkness because I thought, once again, there's a sequel that was another come down. Not nearly on the level of Neighbors 2, but it was a come down for me in the realization of, they couldn't, bottle the lightning once again. But I think also there was so much buildup. If you go back 3 summers and all the hoopla, is it Khan? Is it not Khan? Who gives a shit in the end? The movie wasn't that great.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to any of that. I just really like to revisit these character stuff. I also can't wait for the TV show to see if they can keep this, momentum going. Obviously it's not going to be the same cast, but they should be able to, with this style, do something again. And it's really all about character when it comes down to like Star Trek, and even Star Wars. For as much as anyone wants to talk about those, movies versus TV and stuff, all these sci-fi stuff is the world, it is the characters. So if that doesn't work, you're fucked.
Of current political situations for Star Trek, they always use
that as well. I mean, Star Trek was like that. I mean, Star Trek is very different than Star Wars in the sense that it's more of a modern day.
It's pulled from the headlines in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, the structure of everything is very, U.S. Versus...
Well, it's a military drama. It's like a submarine drama in the 50s.
Exactly. Yeah, and I do like Justin Lin being at the helm here, and the whole. You heard about the lawsuit against the
fan film?
The fan film being dropped now because Justin Lin and J.J. Abrams went and I guess Justin Lin really hated the idea that they were suing over this, and that's the right way to approach it.
Yeah, studios have been so overprotective of their trademarks. There was that story that we heard about a guy doing a really good 007 fan film back in 15 years ago. One of our teachers was telling us, if you recall, and the guy, MGM went after the guy and just basically he spent all this money on this kind of thesis film and he couldn't show it to anybody. He didn't have the clear chain of title for any of the stuff that was used. And it really, in this day and age when there's so much shit on YouTube and people using unlicensed things all the time, what's the fucking difference? Really, they're just pushing your brand. They're just keeping Star Trek in the vernacular. I mean, people are looking at things and talking about, you're building that world so that when you get an official, are they saying that people aren't going to go out and watch the official release because of a fan film? That's why I never understood that argument,
Yeah, well, I mean, the one thing about this I think that makes it different is that the fan film, and a lot of fan films, aren't looking to make a profit. If this was for profit, that would be a different issue, I think, altogether. But it's not. It's really for fans by fans. Right. It's to be freely shared. Here's something we're adding to the universe and whatnot. And that's something that you should encourage and not push down. Albeit if it was, Universal making a Star Trek movie, obviously wouldn't work, right? You'd sue the shit out of them.
Yeah, but look at a movie like Fanboys, which was done, in part by Adam Goldberg, who now does the Goldberg's show. It's like there is talent that comes out of these things sometimes. I wonder what happened to the guy who did George Lucas in Love. Remember that guy? And they stuck him on really shitty studio films like Sleepover and Prom, and he was never heard from again. It's fucked up. Be careful what you wish for. Get in the studio system. All right, let's talk about Assassin's Creed, which is another film that is highly anticipated.
Controversy.
And I think this has a nice looking trailer here. I don't know
really?
What the fuck's going on, but
I thought this was terrible.
It was like Aeon Flux terrible though, right?
No, I just thought, well,
it looked beautiful and terrible.
The kerfuffle here is obviously the Kanye West music. And everyone made a big deal about this, and I read about it before watching this trailer, and I gotta agree, that music does not work with this trailer at all, and it just ruins it, really, for me.
I have no problem. I prefer that than the other stuff where the Transformers in a land of desolation.
No, I don't like that either, but I also don't like the superhero landing. I mean, seriously, why are we doing this still? This movie looks terrible. It looks fucking terrible.
It looks
pointless. I don't understand the video game or the point of the video game, and I don't understand the point of the movie. But at least in the video game, it's interactive. You're doing something. In the movie, you're just going to sit there and watch someone relive memories and shit. It's fucking stupid. What are we doing?
It was very Prince of Persia reminiscent, was it not?
Yeah, well, and the video game is, to be fair, But like I say, the video game's interactive. You have to do missions and shit. I mean, in video games, at that point, maybe, you don't really give a shit. You're just going to do what you're going to do. But in a movie, you have to watch this thing. The story is really so key to this, and I don't understand it.
People are telling me this is the year. This is the year, man, for these video game movies. Though,
not this one. This looks terrible.
Warcraft
look terrible. Looks fucking terrible. I'll totally watch both of them at home and probably enjoy them a little bit.
Yeah.
But
these are going to turn into be like
you said this is like Aeon Flux bad, but Aeon Flux had a great storyline. It just had really kind of shitty execution. But it at least tried. It attempted to be something on a higher level. I'm not sure what the fuck this is.
Let's move on and talk about Pop Star, which is really a spoof of Justin Bieber's entire career, and especially his Never Stop Believing, Never Say Never film that was out from about 5 years ago.
Never Say Never.
Andy Samberg, and I gotta say, I thought this trailer is extremely entertaining. I don't know if the movie will be, but this trailer got me.
Yeah, I don't know if you can expand this to a whole movie, and if it works, I would argue that a lot of movies like this, like Borat and stuff, do get very boring in parts.
The Dictator is really what it reminds me of.
Yeah, that one as well. So sometimes these don't work as well, but I'll agree with you. I mean, I like Lonely Island Boys. I like Andy Samberg. And I think the music is going to be funny.
Oh yeah, they debuted "Fuck You Like the Military Fucked Bin Laden." I mean, did you see that yet? That's going viral.
No, I haven't. I'll have to watch
that was on Saturday Night Live. That's all over YouTube, and it's actually not a bad song.
That's the thing about this is all these songs are very good. I mean, even the stupid little short, like a Boss and shit. Like I fucking love that song because it's just, it's silly and ridiculous, but in the same way, it's kind of fucking badass. It's weird. So it's there's talent here.
Yeah,
I think we can both agree on that. But like you say, I don't know. Does it expand well? I don't know.
Surprised something like this can get a full release. Could get a nationwide summer prime.
He's doing
release.
so well though, Andy Samberg right now. So I don't know. Is it that? I mean, there's not a lot. You already said bad year for comedy, and really when you look at the what's available, there's not a lot of like straight comedy.
I mean, there's been some real duds. I mean, look at Meet the Blacks with Mike Epps, 50 Shades of Black with Marlon Wayans. I mean, there's been some
Those
serious
have all been
duds.
early stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is dead fucking damn near. This is like June, right? This is like
this is a primetime summer.
This is a real release. But Andy Samberg's really big right now. He's doing really well on Fox and on TV anyway. So
I still don't watch that show. Do you watch Barkley?
Really, I do like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch it. I should watch it. Probably would like it. I like all the guys in it, but I just don't watch it. Strange.
Yeah, Terry Crews. If you got Terry Crews in your show, I'll watch it for sure.
Now let's talk about The Accountant, which is Ben Affleck's return to really serious dramatic films, and this is another trailer that I liked a whole lot. I really did.
I don't know if I liked it a lot. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it's autistic Batman, right?
It really, when you text me the other night,
isn't that so weird?
And you look,
It's
I watch,
so
I go,
weird.
what the fuck is he doing here? His father's gonna get him out there to fight these boys? It's like, what is that? Come on, Bruce, you gotta learn.
Weird. Yeah, but he's clearly like autistic, right? Or something along those lines.
High functioning to some level.
Yeah, but he still works. You know, he's still capable of doing things. It's kind of like, it reminds me of a more action oriented Dexter type idea, right?
I'm watching this trailer though, and I'm thinking, was Robert Downey Jr. too busy to come back and do this? I mean, this is like a Robert Downey Jr. role if I've ever seen one, honestly.
Is it? I don't know. I don't think it is, because he wouldn't be able to act like I mean, this is going to be a very introverted role. If you see Ben Affleck in this, he's just his face is blank the whole movie. I don't think this is a Robert Downey Jr. role at all.
I felt like they could have had him doing this, but the whole style of this is so Warner Brothers. If you know what I mean by that.
Oh,
you know,
yes,
like the
it
Judge
is.
and whatnot. And
yeah.
That whole, I'm looking at this trailer like, God, this is a classic Warner Brothers movie and release and trailer. And I like that it's done by Gavin O'Connor. I'm a big fan of O'Connor. I like Pride and Glory. I like Warrior a whole lot, and I want to see this.
Yeah, I'm
I just don't know what that childhood shit has to do with.
I don't know what the movie really has to do with anything, man.
I like that politically.
It's a weird movie.
I like that.
This
like
is
that
gonna
they're
be
not giving me it
weird.
all. It's fine with me. If he's a fucking, I don't know if he's a sniper on top of a tower at the end or what, but I like what's going on here in this trailer. I like all the little elements they're doing here.
Well, they haven't, to be fair, given you the story, as you say. You know, we don't really know how this progresses, what this turns out to be. But this is, like I say, it's a Dexter type thing. It is a superhero movie, basically, right? Is it not?
As long as he doesn't do the superhero landing, right? I didn't see him.
Yeah, he's not going to do that. This is more grounded in reality than that. But weird.
Jumps off the
weird
roof and
movie.
lands like that. What about this Billy Lynn's long halftime walk, which is really Ang Lee's return to not only 3D, but using that hyper frame rate. And you can see a little bit of it in this trailer.
This is in 3D?
Yeah, and supposedly this is like visionary.
Is he gonna switch?
There's our fact checker right there, keeping me honest.
He's
it is in
upset.
3D. And it's apparently, though, getting the high frame rate, which is going to make it look pristine. And some of those shots you can tell are really going to pop if that's the case with the Super Bowl and things like that. I just don't understand what the fuck this movie has. Watching this trailer, I was reminded of the last sequence or the midway sequence of Flags of Our Father when they trotted the boys around on kind of a victory tour. They didn't feel like they deserved it, and it got extremely melodramatic. And this trailer feels a bit on the nose. Am I wrong?
I like that about it, though.
Did you?
I think that it's going to do exactly. I mean, this trailer puts it clearly as what this is going to be, you know. And this is kind of something that Ang Lee, you know, does well. Let's be honest. You say on the nose and stuff, and it's emotionally on the nose as well. Like, it's very obvious what's happening here.
Maybe the trailer,
but it still works.
On the nose
I thought it still worked.
Like the moments in it, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be what the movie's about. You know, really, to be honest with you, a lot of stuff like this about war, and you know, the title alone, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, right? The whole idea of this is on the nose, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a mouthful.
I mean, up to the very last portion where she asks him what really happened over there, right? That last bit is like, okay, got it, you know. But I like that about this. I like that I know exactly what I'm going to get out of this, and emotionally, I think that it works. So
it will be a tearjerker, that's for sure, for audiences that are willing to go with it. You can see that about it right from the jump. Classic November release, right? Like fall.
Very wanting to get all the accolades they can.
Yeah, right in that award season timing. All right, and then we jump from that and talk about The Do-Over, Adam Sandler's second Netflix comedy release.
Which is definitely looking at all the awards, right?
And yeah, for Razzies. This is really an action comedy, the most action comedy thing I've seen him do really since Bulletproof.
He's got a gun in this even at one point.
I'm excited about this one. I thought this trailer was entertaining as all shit, man.
I'm still a little confused, but yeah, I mean, I love the idea that we're doing an action comedy. I love the idea that David Spade is in it. Yeah. Because where did that come from? And Adam Sandler, of course. And this feels like a very Happy Madison Adam Sandler movie that they've been holding on to since, I don't know, 1998.
I'm fine with that, though. I really am. I love when he says, you know, I tied you to the bed because I didn't want you to wake up and be scared. What did you think I wasn't scared? I woke up tied to the bed, you know, like that kind of stuff. And even like we all have a friend that takes shit too far. That's also, it just feels like vintage Sandler to me. They just look older, you know. It's like the Lost Sandler movie to me. which is what I wanted the Ridiculous
exactly.
Six to be, in which that was nowhere near. I'm a huge Sandler fan.
Didn't
I
even
sat
watch
through
it.
Blended in a theater. I could not get through the Ridiculous Six.
Yeah,
I cannot do it.
It looks, the trailers look terrible. This at least looks like a real movie, and more in line with something that he would do.
Yeah, this looks like a real movie.
I mean, I like
right.
Adam Sandler comedies, you know.
So do I, and I'm all ready for this one. And they said that Netflix said that their users, their viewership is actually highest over Memorial Day weekend, is what their data has suggested, which is why they're releasing this May 27th. This will be available.
That's probably true. I mean, I will watch this the minute it comes out. I basically watch everything Adam Sandler, except the only thing I haven't seen is Ridiculous Six.
You saw Blended?
I've seen Blended.
I saw Jack and
I know
Jill
it's
in the
terrible.
theater.
It's dog shit. I've seen Jack and Jill. It's also not so good.
I'm hoping this is going to be raunchy and just kind of irreverent on the level of That's My Boy. Something that's just kind of a one-off that really isn't even for mass consumption.
Does he get, I mean, doing this deal with Netflix and putting out a movie like The Do-Over, clearly this, I mean, let's be honest, this is not theater. This is not a theatrical run ready.
But it's also not straight to DVD. It's in that weird middle.
Is it not? It's exactly straight to DVD. It's so weird that it's coming out essentially straight to DVD. I mean, you can say straight to streaming all you want, same thing. But does that, is he going to get a little bit leeway because of that? Do you think? Do you feel like that at all? Like maybe
I'm giving him a little bit of leeway for it because we know this isn't a real movie. But it's not straight to DVD in the sense that it's some Seagal shit where he's not doing ADR and they're shooting in Romania and factories and body doubles are there because he's barely on set. That's what I consider those straight to DVD type things that are
okay. This has money. I'll admit that.
You know, this looks like it has some sort of quality to it, whether it's a look or whatever.
Backing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that,
so
you can attract even cameos that'll work, you know, because a lot of his movies are based on cameos and people popping up.
He's so lucky in the sense that he has, it's him, right? I mean, you talk about cameos. We got Sean Astin in this, Luis Guzman, obviously, Nick Swardman.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on because he is Adam Sandler and he's got his crew with him and stuff.
Got a repertoire. Yeah.
You know, I mean, outside of Adam Sandler movies, I mean, Sean Astin, what? He's a Hobbit? I mean.
No, he's a fucking Goonie. Forever, man.
Goonies forever.
Fastball out there. I'm gonna hit it. All right.
You know what? Goonies are good enough. So.
Exactly. All right. Let's talk about Don't Breathe, the horror film, the new horror film coming out from executive producer Sam Raimi, directed by the guy who did the Evil Dead reinterpretation a couple years back. You had me watch this trailer, and I was reminded right off the bat of the old, you know, turn the tables on what we think is the bad guys thing that Wes Craven did in The People Under the Stairs. That's really what this kind of reminded me of. You know, you think you're on top of it and you get yourself into the situation you didn't need to be in with the force you don't understand.
How is this feature length?
The trailer bored me, so I can't imagine the whole movie being any good.
Yeah, well, at first I thought, oh shit, this is crazy. And then after a while, you're like, just fucking do something. Like, fight him. I don't get what's going on.
You got time to call your dad and say you fucked up?
I mean, can't you just leave? Can't you just run away? I don't understand. Why have you come? How is there a situation in which you find yourself like this, where he's just walking around and leaving the rooms and doing this, but you don't move, you don't leave? I don't know. And the idea that he's, what is he, like a superhero? I don't understand. There's two people here. You can fucking kill this guy, no problem. I'm lost as to how this expands.
Episode to me.
It may be. I mean, as a short film, I think this would be absolutely ingenious. As a feature film, like you say, this is gonna be boring as fuck.
Yeah,
the whole movie, I'm just gonna be thinking, fucking killing.
Well, I mean, if you have a good hook. Let's start like that. Even The Conjuring and things like that, and some of these movies. I especially think Deliver Us from Evil was slept on. You didn't even see that, and you're a horror guy. Eric Bana and Joel McHale from a couple of years ago. That was a very, very good movie, horror film. And even if you have a good hook in the horror genre, sometimes the execution is so bland, or the trailers are cut so generically that it doesn't sell what you're trying to get through. So
that depends on the people watching as well. I mean, horror is a very weird genre. You know, I really liked It Follows. I thought that had a really good hook. And a really good execution, but a lot of people didn't. So, you know, it's kind of like comedy in that sense that some people think things are funny. Some people think things are scary. Some people, I mean, I really don't think things are scary necessarily in the sense that I get scared of like the boogeyman or anything, you know, but I do get in the moment of things where you're worried that, you know, is someone going to get killed or something? You know, I like to try to get into that moment.
Well, with our filmmaking background, you understand too what they're doing technically to pull yourself out of the moment. So if you're in the moment, you know it's working because it's got you for that millisecond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's really the hard thing to do with horror films. I mean, you can make a fun horror movie, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily a good horror movie. And this feels reaching. I mean, I really thought that the remake of The Evil Dead was a bit of a reach as well.
I thought it was slightly effective at times.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But it was still, overall, as a movie, it was, you know, you need to make up your mind as to what you're doing. You can't be everything to all people, you know. Like the original Evil Dead is fun. You know, that's what it is. It's fun. So when you remake that and you try to make it serious, I don't know, it doesn't really work. And so this has that same feel to me where it's like, it's a fun idea. Oh, this is a fun idea, but then it's too serious. And so it gets boring.
The trailer bored me. The trailer that didn't bore me, though, was Hell or High Water, this little
sleeper hit.
Yeah, really, it's kind of a revenge action drama that's going on here with Chris Pine, Ben Foster, and Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
And this looks like something that John Sayles would have done, you know, like a Lone Star
Where
or
did
something
this
like
come
that.
from?
I don't know, but it looks like it has extremely powerful performances, a great hook, a great
Very
idea.
westerny. You know, bank robbers. These guys are trying to pay off their mortgage, and they go around apparently
Robbing
like
banks.
several times. Right, this isn't just a one-time thing, but they go around and they continually hit these banks every so often to try to pay off the mortgage on this ranch, and it's a very westerny feel. Jeff Bridges plays the cop or the sheriff, whatever the hell he is, out to find these guys, Ben Foster and Chris Pine, who I guess are brothers, right?
Well, that's the
And
one
it's their
I'm
parents'
thinking is
ranch.
that Ben Foster's the older brother. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, Ben Foster. You'll always be that little boy to me.
Anyhow,
Anakin.
I do really like Ben Foster. I do really like Chris Pine. I like Jeff Bridges, and they all seem to be on their A game in this. And
They're firing on
the
this, aren't
direction is really good, and the movie seems interesting. And I don't know, for such a basic storyline. I do like the idea of this.
By these kind of trailers. I got tricked by The Rover, which had a good trailer like this. I got tricked by Z for Zachariah, which was on the fence on that one, which had a trailer, even had Chris Pine in it, and your boy Clifton,
Yeah.
Chewy
I
Elijah.
gotcha. I'm well aware of that.
So I mean, I just didn't think that. I watched this and I thought, man, are they going to get me again? Am I going to watch this?
Maybe.
Shit.
I loved
this trailer. Did work,
but there are moments, right? I mean, I love Chris Pine telling his kids, right? Like,
yeah, everything you hear about is true.
know, you're gonna hear a lot of bad things about your dad, but everything you hear, like, and the kid's like, what, like, don't believe it?
I
Or
don't
whatever. He's
believe
like,
him,
no, everything you hear is true. Like that, those kind of moments and shit. It's like, damn, this is gonna be like, this is either gonna be a movie that doesn't handle the timeline very well, or it's gonna be one that handles it expertly, you know. And so that's what I'm waiting to see, because as you say, you know, trailers can lie,
which they do often. That should be our next website, trailerscanlie.com. This looks like something like a good movie that John Sayles or Walter Hill never got around to making at this point. I love noir westerns too, you know, just in there, just fucking basically making
modern day
Western.
westerns are cool, you know. I don't think we get enough of those.
And they always seem to still work. All those kind of genre conventions still work.
Because they're tough guys, right? I mean, that's what essentially the Western is a tough guy, right? It's the one thing that we don't necessarily get anymore. I mean, we do a little bit with the superheroes and stuff, but not enough.
Well, there's no vulnerability there. There's only just, you got invincible, but brought down by morals and ethics. And things
Right, exactly. But that's what I mean. But that's the same thing with this, right? Hell or High Water. These guys are capable of going and robbing all these banks over and over again. No one can catch them. And in the end, it does seem like the conscience is weighing on them.
Well, it's an interesting show tonight because we basically had better trailers than we did movies that we saw. Out of all the movies that you and I combined to see, I think the only positive, you liked Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and The Night Before.
Yeah.
And our trailers were a little bit more successful here, so interesting night. I guess this is how the 300s are going to be.
Oh, moving forward, I don't know. Well, we'll see the big movies this year. I think are going to be good. I didn't even talk about Civil War. I'll talk about it next time.
Oh yes. Yeah, don't shoot in at the end here.
We're already in over the hour. We're good at this point. I'll talk about Civil War next time. Suffices to say it's fucking amazing. But
I've heard that universally. I plan on checking it out this week so I can join
already
in the
over a billion
conversation.
worldwide. It's a great movie.
Because that means everything. Because Alice in Wonderland was the
You know
best
what?
$1
Alice in
billion
Wonderland is
grocer.
one of my favorite movies of all time. I await the sequel. Johnny Depp is the greatest actor ever.
I got to share something with
It's
you
not
I
true.
saw on Adult Swim the other night. 'Cause
Okay.
I still watch that. You know how they have those little written blurbs in between the commercials and
There's
whatnot, kind of
adults
like
in it.
irreverent.
Yes.
And it said that Ferris Bueller is turning 30 years old this year. That the movie is 30 years old this summer. And it said, if that doesn't mean anything to you, you're a beautiful snowflake and the future is yours. And it said, if that puts a lump in your throat, start checking your body for lumps and put a pin in your dreams. And I thought, oh, shit, man, that's true, huh?
Wow.
Good God.
How is that? Okay, Ferris Bueller, the movie is turning 30 years old.
Yeah. He's in his 60s, but yeah.
I was going to say, wait.
Ferris Bueller's got to be in his fucking
The
late
character
60s.
itself is old. Would have to be, twice that, right? No.
I'd probably say in his 50s.
30, 45, almost 50. Yeah, 50, right? About, you'd say. How old
Silver
was he in that
Fox.
movie? 15, 16, 17?
No, I think he was 18. Wasn't he a senior?
Was he 18? He was a senior. So he's 17 or 18.
Yeah.
So yeah, make him in his 50s. Okay.
48.
Matthew
50s.
Broderick's clearly older than that.
Fuck yeah, I think he's damn near 70. Little horse face.
Holy shit.
Leave it on that little jab at Sarah Jessica Parker. It's a stepping jab.
Yeah, you can
All
see
right,
a
guys,
gal
what-
about a horse.
Yeah, oh, wow. I saw that movie. It was called How Does She Do It All?
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it or whatever that
Does
was.
she do it all?
Remember that one? How Does She Do It All? She doesn't. She's
How
pretty
does she
terrible.
do them all? That's a different movie.
That's a Kim Cattrall's movie. All right, thank you guys for joining us on episode 301. We want to thank you guys for continuing to stick with us throughout the years and all through these podcasts. You can get our entire catalog over at iTunes or on MovieMavericks.com. If you're listening on Stitcher, TalkShoe, iTunes, wherever you may be listening through, we want to thank you guys. Continue to check MovieMavericks.com for updates. We'll be back with you next week with a new podcast. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I'm Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to MovieMavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!